911, what's the address of your emergency?
I live at that's the next door neighbor. She just came over in hysterics and said somebody shot her roommate.
Okay. Did it just happen?
Yeah, she said it just happened. She needs ambulance in place.
Okay.
So the roommate Ashley is the one that's still alive.
She is still alive?
She said she is, yes.
Okay, tell her to take a deep breath, okay? I'm going to ask you some questions. Is Ashley bleeding seriously?
Was she bleeding seriously? Yes, she said yes.
Okay. All right. Do we know if Ashley's completely alert?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, she just saw it and she just ran.
Okay.
On January 7th, 2018, a man called 911 around 9:30 a.m. He said that his neighbor Audrey had come over to report that her roommates had been shot. Audrey is heard in the background and the man says that one roommate is definitely dead and the other is bleeding badly. When the police arrived, they were met by Audrey, who was outside. She said she was staying with a friend last night and came home to see that her back door had been kicked in. She also said she saw footprints in the snow and found her roommates in their bedrooms. Lauren was dead and Ashley was critically injured. The police went inside the home and could immediately hear Ashley calling for help. Once they cleared the scene, the police found Lauren lying on her bed. She had been shot multiple times. Ashley was lying on the floor of her room. The body cam footage of Ashley is pretty terrifying. She's clearly in shock and begs the police not to hurt her. The police asked her if she knew who did this, and it's obvious that Ashley doesn't know what's going on. She had been shot in her back of the head and a few more times to various parts of her body. The police carried Ashley down to the ambulance and she was taken to the hospital. They were receiving updates about Ashley's condition. The hospital finally let them know that Ashley had pulled through and that they could interview her. The police asked Ashley if she remembered anything.
So Saturday, this would have been before I got shot, obviously, the day before I got shot. We went to a place in Livingston. It was a hotel.
And you said Ralph drove you home?
Yes, he did.
Can you tell me, do you remember anything from the drive home?
I don't remember a whole lot, no. Maybe if you ask me a more specific question, I might be able to answer. I don't know.
Do you remember any conversations that you guys were having?
Not really specifically, no.
Going from when Ralph dropped you off, what's the last thing you remember that night?
Really, the last thing I remember is I gave him a kiss goodnight and in the car, and he was like, okay, I'll watch you go and get inside, and I was like, of course you will. So then I went inside, I shut the door, obviously. And really from there on, I don't remember too much.
The police went back to the crime scene and collected several shell casings from a small caliber pistol. They also took shoe impressions from the footprints in the snow. The footprints went from the front of the home to the back door. The police didn't know if Lauren or Ashley was the intended target, so they decided to talk with Ashley's boyfriend Ralph and Lauren's ex-husband Paul.
So Ralph, I'm a detective with the sheriff's office, and I did some of the processing of the scene at the house. Mm-hmm. And so I have some information and I have some questions about stuff that I saw there.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
So tell me, when did you guys start dating?
Roughly December last year, so a year and change ago.
Okay.
Just over a year.
Okay. And how do you characterize your relationship with her right now?
We've been attempting to break up with each other for several weeks, and pretty much this week we decided together that it was the right thing to do is to not date each other anymore.
When was the last time you actually had contact with her?
With Ashley?
Yeah.
Last night when I dropped her off.
And that was after the Livingston trip?
After the Livingston trip, right around. We decided it was a little bit before 9 o'clock.
What time did you go to bed last night, Ralph?
Pretty much, I'm going to say look at my phone. That's how I do everything. But I said goodnight to Ashley, and I was up for a little while longer, maybe an hour.
So you're thinking around 11 o'clock is when you went to bed?
I'm thinking so.
Did you go anywhere after?
No,
you
I stayed at home.
Did you attempt to kill Ashley?
No.
Did you attempt to kill her roommate?
No.
Had you been in that house last night?
No. Do you believe me? Why not? You gotta ask.
Would you be willing to let us dump your phone to
Yes.
retrieve your GPS locations,
Yep.
that kind of stuff off of your phone?
Yep.
Ralph was fully cooperative with the investigation. He let them conduct searches of his phone, his residence. They were able to obtain DNA from him. He expressed his desire to help the investigation however they needed. They were easily able to clear him and his potential involvement fairly quickly. So after talking to Ashley's boyfriend, they determined that the target was probably Lauren. Her ex-husband Paul was brought in for questioning. The police told him that the reason he was there was because there were issues at Lauren's home.
So, the reason that I wanted to talk to you is there was some issues that happened over at Lauren's house this morning, and I just kind of wanted to touch base with you to see if you were over there at all, if kind of where you were, because you guys are going through a divorce. From what I understand, we need to kind of figure out what's going on.
And so, absolutely anything that you can tell us that might give us a little clarity would be helpful, I think, for both of us.
This is news to me. I don't know anything about it.
Complete news, complete surprise.
They told me when they picked me up they're investigating a homicide. I did not think there's some weird stuff's been happening since I've been over. So I'm like, geez,
Well, let me just say right off the bat, I understand Lauren, regardless of your relational issues. I understand.
I love her.
Lauren's very important to you. And I'm so sorry that you're going through this right now.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the separation has been going?
It depends on who you ask. Like, for her, it's fine. For me, it's really tough.
I want to know from you.
I've had trouble dealing with it,
Can you, let's just start with a basic timeline. Sort of about last evening, last night, as detailed as you can. Say from the end of dinner time. Tell me about what you know.
I fell asleep again. I'm not sure when I slept.
What time do you think you went to bed?
Gosh, it was late. Actually, it did go out. I went and got a 6-pack of beer around midnight at Town Pub. I went to bed around 2.
And that was about midnight. You got a 6-pack of beer, right?
Yep.
Lauren DeWise was married to Joseph Paul DeWise, and together they had a daughter. She was working as a banking center manager at a local bank. Lauren moved in with Audrey and Ashley sometime in November 2017. After things weren't going so well in her relationship with Joseph. It came as no surprise when their marriage broke down. They had been arguing in public and at their home. Joseph had accused his wife of being unfaithful. He had 2 children from a previous relationship, Natalie then 17 and Joe 15. But Joseph made it clear that Lauren was no longer welcome at the house. Despite being away from the children, her new home felt like a sanctuary for her to rebuild her life. Lauren even confided in her housemates that Joseph had been abusive. He was still behaving disturbingly. Their arguments continued, and he placed GPS tracking devices on Lauren's car to try and catch her out with other men. As the new year rolled in, it seemed that life was starting to move on for Lauren and Joseph. They were due to meet on January 7th to talk about their divorce. But on the morning of January 7th, Lauren was dead in her bed from gunshot wounds. Audria, who was also Lauren's personal trainer, had noticed Lauren had bruises and even a black eye at one point. In addition, Lauren's employer had provided records of 2 incidents where Lauren got to work with bruises and later asked to have her husband removed if he came to the workplace. Paul's son Joe was brought in for questioning. He had been 15 at the time of the murder.
Just so you understand who I am, my name is Jeremy Kopp. I'm the detective sergeant for the sheriff's office. Okay? Obviously, you know what happened to Dad. Given that, then I need to be able to sit down and be able to talk to you, right? How was your relationship with her?
We were close.
Yeah.
She was like my mom. But
Okay.
she wasn't my mom. She was pretty much like my mom.
Okay. Let's go to Saturday. And just walk me through Saturday.
Okay, for Sunday. So Saturday. Let's see. So I got up around like maybe 12-ish, around 12.
Why'd you go?
I just go with him just because.
Yeah. I mean, do you hang with your dad quite a bit?
Yeah.
You just got pretty tight.
Yeah. So we just.
Fair enough to say.
Just whatever we do, you know.
Is it just you and Dad then
Yeah.
going on the beer run? Okay. So you don't recall hearing the doors or anything open when you go to bed?
Everything's fine.
Okay. So it's important that you and I, as we kind of work through the details, that we're completely truthful with each other. Okay? That's pretty important.
Right.
What do you think happened?
She was in her home sleeping. As I know from what my dad told me, his body. It could have been drugs or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it could be drugs.
Who do you think could do something like that? No guesses. No.
It couldn't be my dad. He loves.
After getting the results back from the crime lab, the police discovered that there were 2 sets of footprints in the snow. One set of footprints was smaller than the other, so the police needed to bring Paul's son Joe back in for questioning. This time his mom was with him and he continued with his story from the previous interview. The police could tell he wasn't telling them everything. Jeremy Cobb, the under-sheriff, told the son that he needed to tell them the truth. Joe finally broke and said that he didn't have a choice.
You and I, okay. So, let's start with this. Okay. That's pretty accurate to what you told me yesterday. which is unfortunate because I don't think that's actually what happened. And I was hoping that today you and I could break through that and we could talk about what actually happened. Because if I can't get you to be honest with me, I can't help you. And I don't believe that you're being completely truthful with me. And I don't know exactly why. But I'm not willing to give up on you. I think that we can get through it. Okay? I know that this is really hard for you to sit here. I know it. I can see the weight on you. And the only way I can help is if you and I are honest with each other. I can't help. I can't do anything if you and I aren't honest with each other in here. Was it just your dad?
Come on, son.
Did he tell you really much? And then what did he tell you?
Love you, dear Dad.
You knew what he was going to do.
I did all stop with no thank you.
Good to see you again. You did tell me. Stopped him. What is
Was it you or him? Tell me.
My sisters.
I know you were.
I didn't have a choice. I had to.
And how far did you go back?
I went inside the house.
How far did you go in the house? Could you see the stairs? Could you see the stairs? Yeah. Could you hear them?
Yes.
Could you hear them?
Dad. What the hell is wrong? I said no. Father.
On Paul's phone, the police found text messages and audio recordings where Paul can be heard telling Lauren that he's going to kill her.
Always told me that wrong. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to express myself.
You're such a lying piece of
Why do you say that?
That's all I'm doing. I'm so tired of living like this. This innocent fake.
I'm nothing.
I've done everything for you. I've given up everything for you. The only thing you ever cried about is you. That's it. You know what? I'm gonna. She's gonna.
It's clear that the motive was anger, and if I can't, you, no one can. Paul went on trial in December 2018. Several people, including Audrey, testified that Paul was abusive to Lauren and that she had seen injuries on Lauren before. Paul's kids also testified. His son Joe said that his dad made them wear gloves and face masks. Joe said that the gun that was used was one that he recognized from seeing Paul shoot before. Paul made Joe get rid of the gun, shower, and to tell anyone who asked that they were home all night watching TV. Paul's daughter Natalie said that Paul was violent and told her that he had killed Lauren. Natalie also said that Paul wanted Joe to take the blame for shooting Lauren. The most powerful testimony came from Ashley. She was asked about being shot and about what she actually remembers. Ashley let the court know where she was shot and that she had to learn how to do several things again. Paul was found guilty of deliberate homicide, attempted deliberate homicide, and using a firearm. He was sentenced to 220 years in prison. Joe was never charged. Well, it's safe to say Paul doesn't win Father or Husband of the Year. He was pissed that Lauren was finally going to leave him and he forced his 15-year-old son to help him get rid of evidence and lie for him. I feel really so sorry for Lauren's family, the kids, and Ashley. Ashley is a really strong survivor. I admire her strength and determination, and I hope she's living her best life. Young agents, write down what you think about this case. If you're interested in true crime like I am, I hope that you would consider hitting that subscribe button. But either way, thanks for being here. See you in the next episode. Bye.